All right. Welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. I'm your host, Tim Lyons, holding in my hand the agreement for the Grow Summit 2024 Chicago, guys. I've signed it. You're looking at it. It's signed, sealed, delivered, paid. Deposits are in. Joined by Randy Angston. What's up, buddy?
How we doing? I'll be there too.
Oh, you'll be there? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I'll take the day. I'll take the day on.
All right, guys. If you want in on the Growth Summit, growthsummitchicago.com. We have a URL up right now. You can opt in, get the information. I don't know if there'll be tickets by the time this come out, but literally just signed it yesterday. Wanted to share it with you on this podcast today. You're the first to know.
You're
the first to know. So exciting stuff. Just always leveling up that Growth Summit. It's our 6th annual one. I said the last 3 ones I'd never do another one, and I just keep doing them. I'm a glutton for punishment. But I'm excited, man. I mean, never done one in Chicago. I did Nashville. That's your home.
I'm going home.
You know what's cool about Chicago is we have a lot of Iron Circle members in that Midwest kind of area. Chicago, Rockford, Missouri, all over, there's several in that area. And I mean, there's a ton of gyms in Chicago.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah.
Well, there's a big need,
Midwest.
I mean, to be honest, I spent, how old was I? I was 21 when I moved out here. So yeah, it's a big sausage and cheese.
Sausage and pizza, deep dish, Illuminati's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much as I love it, that bites me back.
Yeah.
But
I'll let other people eat the pizza. So excited about that. Go check out growthsummitchicago.com. Exciting times, the 6th annual. All right, so this episode, guys, we're calling it the point of no return. And really this equilibrium point happens later on in your gym owner career. This isn't anything that I would have ever thought of. It didn't even cross my mind early in the game, even the first 10 years. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Why? How can you not continue to grow? Doesn't it just go up and to the right forever? Isn't the graph always up and to the right? No, there's a point in every gym, no matter what the model is, especially in the large group model, I would say, because of the numbers, and I'm going to explain that here in a second, that you just don't grow anymore.
Sure.
You hit a ceiling. And whatever that number is, it really has to do a lot with how much you're spending on marketing and what is a normal sign up for you. Do you normally sign up 10? Do you normally sign up 15?
Per month.
Do you normally sign up 20, 5, 7, 17, whatever that number is? That becomes the number that you need to be focused on. And why do I say that? Because let's just say in the game of attrition, you're going to lose people in your gym, right? People move, die, lose their jobs, get married, change gyms, whatever. They just lose motivation. They quit your gym. You can't prevent attrition from happening. Yeah. It's a constant in your business. And, the more members you end up getting or having, the more members you end up losing. Yeah. Because it's a percentage of the total. So let's just use easy numbers and say, hey, you have a 5% attrition, which I would say is average. It's a C-ish. If you can get lower than 5 and get 4.32, you're in really good shape. But let's just say it's 5. And you have 100 members, you're losing 5 every month. That's just a simple math equation. If you have 200 members, you're losing 10 every month. If you have 250 members, you're using 12 and a half or 13 members every month. And the question becomes is like, how much are we spending on marketing and how many members are we getting every month? Let's just say you have an acquisition cost of $300 and you're signing up 10 members a month. You're spending $3,000 a month. And let's just say for sake of example, you get to a point where you have 200 members and you've been spending $3,000 a month and that's just what you spend. And that's just, you get your 10 members, it's $300 acquisition. And then there comes a point where you sign up 10, you lose 10. You sign up 11, you lose 12. You sign up 12, you lose 10. You sign up 14, you lose 13. And it just you never get ahead. You never get ahead.
Yeah.
Because you're only spending X, right? You're spending that 3,000. If you were to double that, for example, and you spent 6,000 and you kept the acquisition cost the same, yes, you could outpace your attrition in this example by 10 members.
Sure.
But guess what happens? Now you have 210 members or 260 members, 270 members. And every time you grow that top line, you're losing more members. And unless your marketing outpaces your attrition, or that you're willing to spend that, you're going to get to a point where you're constantly signing up the same amount of people you're losing.
Sure.
And it's happened here a million times where we'll just be like, man, what's going on? Right? Like years ago,
Sure.
Like we're signing up 12, lose 12, sign up 12, lose 12, sign up 12, lose 12.
And
Yeah,
you feel like it's going to be a great month when you look at the sales, and then at the end of the month, you're like, what the hell happened?
What the hell happened?
Yeah.
In most gyms, unless you are versed in the math of marketing lessons that we teach and the return on ad spend, you're afraid to spend more on marketing. And you get the 10 members and you feel like that's a good month, like you said, but you lose 12. It's like, what are we doing here? So there comes a point where there is a point of no return. Nobody ever talks about it. That's the matter of what it is. So how do we break through the plateau? How do we break through the equilibrium? There's several ways to do it. But if you look at how do you make more money in your gym, there's only 3 ways. More members.
I was going to say that.
More members.
That was the how to make more money breakthrough, not how to acquire more members necessarily.
Yeah.
Correct?
Oh, correct. Yeah. How do you break through the revenue?
Yeah, there we go.
Like maybe you just decided like, hey, I'm going to stay around 200. Like it's going to be 195 to 205, 207, 193. It's just going to bounce around.
Sure.
That 200 mark. Let's just say that's your number. Well, you could either be satisfied, like that's it. Here we are. We're going to just keep the business as is, and we're only going to make this amount of money from this business. And there's going to be people out there that you just need to accept that.
I think there's a lot of people that get to that point that either are unaware that they're doing that, or they don't know what to do.
They don't know what to do
in order to increase revenue past.
Okay, so let's talk about what you can do if you're unsatisfied with the revenue. You realize your member number's not going to change just because you're going to spend X, and you're going to unless again, you could outspend it.
Sure.
You could outspend attrition. And I do recommend that, especially if you're getting a return on your ad spend. Like, of course, you should outspend it. But let's just say you don't, and you're at this 200 number, and you're not satisfied, you want more money. There's only 3 ways. Number 1 is more clients. We just talked about you're not going to do that. It's just you're going to lose more, and you're going to bring in the same amount of people. Number 2, you can charge more. You can charge more to your current members and do a global price raise, or you can charge more for the new members, or both. Or a combination, or some of the ones that have been here longer than 2 years, you raise them. The people under 2 years, you don't. Like, there's a million ways to do it.
Sure.
Or number 3, you could sell your current members more things. Nutrition programs, an upgrade to a high ticket, transformation program, supplements. It's nominal.
Yeah.
It's nominal.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like, okay, what do we do then? One of the best things you can do, especially if you're in a large group model, you can switch your model to semi-private training and immediately reap the rewards, immediately double, triple, 4x your revenue with less people, or the same, or more. It just depends on how well you do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can switch to semi-private. Like, to me, it's the best of all worlds. You get more bang for your buck. You can leverage your coaches. It's a better product. You get better results. It's a different client. So now if you've been tapping in this large group market for so long and you dried up that well, guess what? There's a whole nother well over here that you haven't even tapped into for semi-private training.
And if those people have been in your business for some period of time, they're also probably benefiting from the new style of training themselves.
Correct. If they stick around with you for through the changes and they end up going to semi-private, they're going to get better results too. And they're paying more. So that goes into the charging more aspect of it. But other than those couple things, that's it. You either have to accept that we're going to sign up 12, lose 12 every month. And if we're not willing to change rates, if we're not willing to change your model, then you have to be willing to be, okay, this is all we're going to squeeze out of this lemon here. The juice is, this is it. We're draining what we can out of this. And you as a gym owner, one that has time invested in the opportunity, you have to make a decision. Do I open up another location? Do I do something else with my time? Do I try to cut expenses to try to like squeeze a little bit more margin out of here?
Yeah.
Or you are what you are at that point. Like that's it.
Yeah, you're kind of stuck. You nailed it too. I mean, I like the fact that you brought up obviously we've talked, our mission is to help gym owners win, not just grow gyms. And so when you do get to a point, I mean, I think left, right, forward, you should then start considering, okay, here's top line revenue. Here's what the gym is earning. What can I do within those four walls? Can I look at the business? Can I tighten some things up? Can I hone it in? Can I drive one area that's really, successful, make that a little bit more impactful in order to watch your net revenue increase or, increase that owner benefit, if you may. Something that's been top of mind lately, we always talk about, I think on our trip we were talking about, the value of a gym. When somebody's going to turn around and want to sell that business, if you're at that point, you should have a desirable business for somebody to come along and consider purchasing. But if the owner benefit's not there, if the net revenue isn't there, if you're taking in what you're putting out every month, it's not a desirable business. So left, right, forward, before you consider a second location, before you consider maybe pulling capital out and putting it into a different business or whatever it may be, or even just continuing down that path, there is some things that you can do to increase your, owner take home, just the net profits of the business within. But I think that should be kind of step one once you do get to a point like that, is just, look at what you still can manage within the four walls, without having to go add more people or do a global rate change or something along those lines.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother episode is the valuations of gyms. I've been deep in that world for a couple months now and really looking at numbers and trying to understand how do you get the most value for your location.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely an equation here. And it comes down to, guys, and spoiler, it's owner benefit.
Yep.
Owner benefit. And it's like, what is the owner benefiting from the operation? And then on top of that, there's multiples for time invested for the owner. Absentee owners get a different one. And it's a whole nother model. But here you are, you're in your gym, you're looking at your numbers. You're basically at a point where you're just not growing anymore. Now, a couple things internally you could look at is every hour of the day being used?
There you go.
You may not have any sessions during specific hours. You could open up those slots. People then spread out, opens up other time slots, and then you can put more people in. However, the attrition's still going to live there. You're always going to have this 2 to I've even seen 10% attrition. Like there's always going to be attrition. So whatever that number is for you, just by opening slots isn't going to solve the problem, because you have to maybe you were at capacity before and you couldn't take any more hours or any clients in on these sessions because you were full. You open up more hours, more days, maybe an afternoon here, a weekend morning there or whatever. And now people kind of filter into those other new time slots. You have more openings, but that means you can put more people in, which means you're going to lose more people. So unless you're going to outspend your attrition, like we spoke about, then you're just kind of back in the same point. Now you have less capacity issues, but same amount of revenue.
Well, maybe
less revenue.
I was just going to say, maybe
you have more hours.
You've expanded your hours of operation, which means you're paying somebody to be there to train. That you're not making up the difference necessarily.
Every lever you pull has an equal and like another repercussion that could happen behind it, right? So like if you pull the lever of opening of sessions, your payroll goes up, your net profit goes down.
Yep.
Or what do you want? So I think this episode is more for the gym owner that's kind of looking at their numbers and you're not seeing growth. Maybe you've been 2 years stagnant, 3 years stagnant, and you start looking at your members in, members out, and understanding your dues in, dues out, delta changes and all that stuff. And you're like, man, this is it. This is it. And it may be it.
Sure.
And that's the tough reality. Like there is no more growth
and that's
in your current model.
It's a reality of a business. I mean, we don't have, without getting into the hybrids or the online models or where you're taking away the locality of your business, you know what I mean? But when you run a brick and mortar, you get to a point where your market's tapped. I don't want to say tapped. I mean, people come and go in your market. You should have some incremental growth opportunity, but it's not the same as unlimited growth potential like other industries and other businesses have.
Right.
And to your point, like it has to be a real understanding. And at some point, maybe you just have to stop slamming your head against the wall and hoping something, changes, because it might just not be there.
Yeah. I mean, let's just say you're sitting at that 200 or 250 number. Again, we're just using it as an example. You're not seeing growth. You could change your focus into operational effectiveness.
Yep.
How much better can we be inside of this? How much can we scrape out of subscriptions, and how can we peel out of expenses? And now you got like a optimized version of it was, but maybe you're making like a couple percentage more here, less time there. You do things more efficiently here. People are happier. The experience is better. Doesn't mean more revenue, but it means it's a better operation. It's more sellable.
Yeah.
More appealing, right?
And I guess, we've brought it up a couple times, like the sale of the business, like, is that the goal? Is it just getting to a point where maybe the owner is then not in the operation and this is just a cash cow for them in a way? Those are all different individual desires that each of you owners might have different, and you have to be real on what you do desire from your business. And you should start this obviously long before you get to this point. Like if you're opening the business, it's a great time to think about what you want.
Sure.
But getting to that point, if it does slap you one day and you just realize like, oh my God, like this might just be it.
Groundhog's Day every day.
It might be. And then unfortunately, like as an entrepreneur, the progression, the growth is kind of what gets us going every day, right? And so if you find yourself in that position, then I can imagine it really like be unsettling for gym owners to just look at their business one day and go, oh my God, like this is all it's ever gonna create for me.
Yes, and that's the reason for this episode.
Yeah.
I was working with an Iron Circle member that has seen exponential growth since joining the Iron Circle. I'm talking doing revenue numbers in the 360s to moving to the 550s, and last year doing in the 750s, and this year going to be low 9s, high 8s. But there is going to be a point of no return for every gym. And, it's not for them right now because they've got lots of openings. They can take on more people. They're not, they got good attrition numbers. It's just what it is. They have a lot of room for growth, They got price increases. We talked about a couple of those items. But eventually they're going to, let's just say they get to 1-1, 1-2, 1-2-5. And then it's like 2 years in a row, 1-2-5, 1-2-2. It's just like, okay, that's the ceiling. I don't, there's chatter about $2 million gyms. There's chatter. I don't know if I've seen it. I'd like to see it. I'd like to look behind the curtain.
Give some, there's definitely gyms that do more than 2 million, but give some context of the type of, you know what I mean? Like what kind of gym are we talking about here?
Oh yeah. Good point. It's training gyms. It's micro gyms, training gyms, not big box, basic access gyms. I'm talking studios, micro gyms, training facilities.
200 member-ish, somewhere around
200 to 300
Not the
member.
10,000 member. Yeah.
Planet Fitnesses. No, I'm not talking about that. There's definitely gyms that do 2 million plus, 5 million, whatever it is. But I'm talking in our world.
Sure.
Independent, mom and pop, training gyms. So I've heard chatter of 2 million. I'm yet to see proof of this. It's just talk. It's just in one ear out the other. I've seen a couple $1 million gyms, not many. But I've definitely seen a ton of $500,000 gyms, tons of $600,000, $700,000 gyms.
Yeah.
But again, there's going to be that tipping point. Like it's just an equilibrium is what it is. And it comes down to member count. It's what it is. It's like I spend $4,000, $5,000, $7,000 a month for the last 3 years, and I sign up this many members and I lose this many members.
Well, do you think some of that goes back to, the Dunbar number? 150 people is what they say you can personally, as an individual, keep about 150 relationships. Mm-hmm. And do you think that spills into the business, to some degree? Is it square footage? You know what I mean? Like let's say somebody had a 12,000 square foot, that's like a little oxymoron, but you had a large footprint personal training gym.
Yeah.
Is it do you feel that you could maintain maybe 400 members and something like that, or is that just kind of too?
No, you can. You'd have to have more staff. Obviously, you'd have to have more coaches and probably another layers of middle management. But it's all doable. It's all doable.
But even at that, you're not going to. Let's just say you doubled your footprint, your training opportunities, things like that. The expenses go with that too. You know what I mean? So, and probably to a greater, you're probably not doubling your
net.
Well,
it makes more sense to me to have a second smaller location than one bigger location. It's just by radius of population alone. Let me have a 5 mile radius over here in a 5 mile radius 5 miles away, and they're just tapping each other, right? The radiuses. Now you have two different markets.
Sure.
Versus a 10,000 square foot place here with the same 5 mile radius of the same 5 miles of people there. Like it makes way more sense to have separate locations, assuming they're both good. You could have a crappy one and a good one, but like, why would you do that if you have the choice? Right? Let's choose the demos that make the most sense. So, there's all these things that go into it. So if you're, if you're at that equilibrium point, does expanding your business at your current location make more sense, or does it? Hey, let me just do another one over here. Probably the other one makes more sense. The second one.
Yeah.
Now there's economies of scale within your current location where you're not paying additional rent or square footage, or you've got your systems already running that operation. You're not having to buy new software, and there's economies of scale within the one location than having 2 or 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about the potential of revenue, it's going to be at the second.
Well, you hit a couple of pros and cons for both of those. One also is just operational capacity. I mean, you as a gym owner, what is your level of engagement in one location? Can you even are you completely out of this operation where you can go divulge, open up 100% of your time to get that one off the ground, carry those systems over, find staff? I mean, there are definitely pros and cons to all of it, and I think maybe more top level on the show is like, what is, as a gym owner, what do you want out of the business?
What do you want?
You know what I mean?
If it's me, and guys, I mean, I've said this a million times, I don't think another gym is the right vehicle. I'm putting my money in real estate or other business opportunities that can provide an exponential amount more in return than what a gym can. The gym's going to make X. It's just what it is. But like real estate, I think I've said this story a million times. Yeah, I caught the timing on that property right, but like I made 10 times more profit in the same amount of time. It would take me 10 years in having a gym than what I did in 18 months over there. You know what I mean? It's like, that doesn't make sense.
Well, it's a journey of an entrepreneur, right? When you are able to acquire some capital, and it's about leveraging capital. And as you get to a point where you start to realize the importance of what that return looks like, you know what I mean? When you're battling and you're building one business, and you don't really always have the luxury of saying, "Oh, I wish I was getting more out of this business." But when you've got a working like an asset or cash, now you get to pick and choose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So so I guess the point of this episode really is a little bit for that veteran gym owner that's been in the seat 10 years, that's starting to look at, the numbers and it's not changing much, or maybe you see the writing on the wall. It's going to get to a certain point. It's going to stop. What do I do? And we've given you a bunch of different opportunities here.
Just, I think before any of you make those decisions, be prepared. Because again, as an entrepreneur, we've seen it a million times when you get into a position, or somebody's gotten into a position where the growth isn't matching what they've done before, and now they're complacent, they're resentful, right? You don't want to get to a point of resenting your business, knowing like, oh, I'm not getting the growth. Even though the number's there, it's not growing at the rate that you've seen in the past, and therefore you look at it differently.
You gotta be careful.
Yeah, I mean, you got to protect it. Yeah, set those expectations for yourself. Protect the belief and the mindset and what you want out of that business and what it's capable of doing for you in the end. Correct.
Well, listen, guys, hopefully that helps you. It just kind of puts things in perspective, and listen, we're here to help you. Hopefully, I think this episode's probably gonna get some wheels turning. What do you want, right? this is your life. This is what your gym, you did this for a reason.
And,
what is it?
And the reason that we have the iron circle is for that conversation for that gym owner.
Yes.
We're not,
100%.
Our coaching program is designed to get you the systems of the business that can get you to that point. But the what comes next, that's the conversation that we have over in the iron circle.
Yes. And I'll see those guys this week.
Yeah.
So that's it for this episode, guys. Thanks for joining us. A review would be amazing if you have that time on your hands. And that's it for this one. Keep changing lives. We'll see you on the next show. Bye.
All right. And thank you for listening to that episode of the Built to Grow podcast, where we help gym owners win. Now, do you want to connect with me and other gym owners online? All you need to do is join our private Facebook group, Business Talk with Fitness Professionals. Just head on over to Facebook and type in Business Talk with Fitness Professionals. And when you do, we're going to give you our 10 marketing strategies 7-figure gym owners use to win. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until then, keep building something great.